Hello and welcome back to another video with myself, Gingerbexxi. So the last time on this series, we discussed my first anime, which was Fairy Tail. Now today, I want to talk about the show that was a lot of other people's first show, and that is Naruto. This video will be in two parts because you do have the first part of the show, Naruto, and then you have Naruto Shippuden. Naruto was written by Masashi Kishimoto. The manga was actually first released in 1999. It was of course an extremely popular manga. It got its anime adaptation in 2002 and of course a lot of people loved it. The story revolves around Naruto Uzumaki, who is desperately wishing to become the Hokage. The Hokage being the person who basically is the highest ranking ninja. He is the, or she, can be a she, is basically the leader of the village. And that is his goal, that is his dream. He does however have some issues as he's not the most adept at being a ninja. The story really starts out with him starting his training and it not going so well. However, Naruto is also extremely lonely. He doesn't have any friends. You actually see this really sad scene at one point where he's sitting on the swing. Everybody knows, if you've seen Naruto, you know exactly which one I'm talking about. It is horrifyingly sad. But he is also accompanied in his journey by Sakura. She has this reputation of being a useless ninja. However, watch Shippuden, please. At the start as well, we are also joined by Sasuke. Naruto, Sasuke and Sakura have all been put onto a team together, and this is the team who will be going on missions. This is basically, you are put on this team and that is your team for life. And they have been put on a team together to start going on missions. However, they also need someone who knows what they're doing, and they get Kakashi. Now Kakashi is by far probably everyone's favourite. Kakashi is a fantastic character. He has comedy, he has this serious background, he's very mysterious as well. If you haven't seen the show, Kakashi is a character who hides his face for the entire of the show. So my background with Naruto is that I had never watched it growing up. Myself and my sister, when we were growing up, we didn't really get to watch all that much TV of our own, and the TV time that we had was spent towards watching Pokemon. So Naruto wasn't really something that was in my watch list when I was a kid. So I missed out on all that hype growing up. I actually really wish that I had been there. I wish that I had been kind of like how I am right now, but when Naruto was coming out, because I can imagine all the mystery, and I would hope that there would be some kind of fan art on characters like Kakashi to see people trying to like work out what he looked like and everything. I would have loved that. Anyway, so I missed out on the whole growing up with Naruto, and it had this reputation even out with all the anime community of being the show that was for a much younger audience. So even when I did start watching anime back in 2016, it wasn't really a show that I had considered really in my genre, in my view. It wasn't really anything that I thought about watching. Even when I started getting really into anime, I was like, I'm not watching Naruto. Yeah, I wish I'd watched it sooner. My friend, however, the one who introduced me to Fairy Tail, had many tattoos, and one of those tattoos was the Naruto tattoo. But also, I had a big crush on this guy who really liked Naruto, and I was like, maybe we could have a conversation about it. Anime doesn't work when you try to hit on someone. Anyway, that was something that I was like, yeah, do you know what? One of my friends loves this so much that they have a tattoo of it. Another one of my friends will not stop talking about it, and there's this guy I have a crush on that really likes it. So I thought, I'm going to go sit and watch it. I'll just watch like a few episodes, see how it is. Now, when I went and watched it, I really enjoyed the light-hearted nature of quite a lot of it, but I was also extremely shocked at how much serious stuff was in it as well. I mean, that first arc where they go out to the water place, there was so much more serious vibes to it that I would have ever have imagined for Naruto. Now, after watching that first arc, I actually kind of lost track of anime for a while. It was about 4 or 5 months of a period of time that I didn't watch anime, and that was because I was catching up on IRL shows. So I never had a lot of a chance to watch anime because I knew that Naruto had over 700 episodes to watch. So I just decided to pause on Naruto, watch my live action, and then come back to Naruto. So because that time had passed, I'd actually kind of forgotten what happened in the first arc. So I went back and I watched the second half of the first arc, and then I continued on. And I kind of wish that I had just jumped into it and kept going, because the next arc was the tuning exams, and the tuning exams were so goddamn good. Now, you had met a bunch of characters in, you know, the first few episodes moving on to the first arc. However, this is where you actually get to learn about the rest of the characters. You get to meet Gaara, who is honestly one of my favourite characters who I haven't drawn, and I do want to draw him because he is cool. You also get to meet Rock Lee, who obviously is like a huge meme really, but at the same time he is just like such an important character in Naruto. You get to meet Hinata, who is another one of my absolute favourite characters and is extremely important when you get onto the later seasons, which I'll talk about her later. So you do get to start to meet all the other characters that are around Naruto's age. You get to see how they react to Naruto, how the characters interact with each other as well. This is also another place where you start to meet more of the senseis. You meet people like Asuma and Kurenai and all, you know, just all the fabulous characters that we absolutely adore, and you see how they all interact. And this storyline is fantastic for just that. You could have had this storyline just to actually introduce these characters. So the tuning exams was your average tournament arc that you get in most shonen shows. However, this tournament arc goes a little bit downhill when Orochimaru comes into it. Now, Orochimaru is one of the villains of Naruto, and he is a really awesome character. He's one of those characters that, although he is a bad guy, I absolutely loved him just because of how dangerous he was. But anyway, he comes into it and it goes, the tuning exams go downhill. It ends up being really bad. However, that does lead into pretty much the entire of what Naruto's drive is, and Sakura's drive actually, for the rest of the show, and that is that Sasuke goes missing. Now, I'm not going to say a lot about that because it is huge spoilers for the show, but Sasuke goes missing and they basically have to go and get him back. So there was a lot of stuff that happened in it again that really surprised me because it got very dark. Now again, this is a show that I had written off, as many others had written off, as being a show for children. I don't think it really was. It did keep a lot of the very dark parts in part 1 on a more lighter side, so it wasn't super gory, it wasn't super gross, it wasn't like nightmare fuel, but it still had a much darker feel to it than what I expected. So again, keep that in mind if you are going to be watching Naruto, if you haven't already, that number 1, it isn't a show just for kids. Kids can watch it, but it's not just for them. There is also a more serious vibe to some of the episodes as well. One thing I would say about Naruto Part 1 is that technically, although it runs from episode 1 to episode 220, the actual show ends at episodes 136. The reason for that is filler. There's a lot of times where filler is not great at all, and when I first watched through Naruto, I skipped about 20 episodes because I really just wanted to get to the good stuff. However, I did go back and watch those 20 later on. Now, I'm saying get to the good stuff. It had got to a point for myself anyway, when I was watching the filler arcs, I just wanted to find out what happens next in the story. What I would say though is the filler arcs are absolutely fantastic for learning the characters. Now, they are filler episodes, so it doesn't really do much to progress the story, it doesn't really do much to get you into Shippuden, but what it does do is give you a little bit more of a background. You get to hang out a bit more with the other characters, and I feel that going into Shippuden, knowing more about the characters, being more attached to the characters, because you've built up this bond with them in these filler arcs, it really helped, in my opinion anyway. Now, you could go from episode 136 and jump straight into going into Shippuden, but I would recommend that either watch all of the filler before you move on, or at least go back and watch it, because I just feel like it's worth taking that time to watch because it made me feel more attached to the characters anyway. So I would recommend doing that if that is something that you're thinking about doing. If you are thinking about, oh, but I want to get into Naruto but I really don't want to watch all the filler, then don't. Watch as much as you can bear and then move on, because that is what I did. And my attachment to Shippuden wasn't deteriorated by skipping that first 20 episodes, but after I watched the first season of Shippuden, I did go back, because what I really wanted was just to find out what happened when you get into Shippuden. So 100% I would absolutely recommend watching the filler when you have a chance because it is really good. So that is the general story of Naruto. However, we are going to talk about my favourite character who you have been watching in the background of this video. His name is Kakashi! Woo! As with my last video, I will be talking about some minor spoilers, but I will try and keep this mostly spoiler free because I do want you to hear about the character and I do want you to go and watch. So Kakashi is introduced, I think it is actually episode 1 that he is, it's either episode 1 or 2 anyway, you do meet Kakashi. Now Kakashi is an absolutely fantastic character. First of all, he is introduced as the sensei. He has been assigned to Team 7. He does have a lot of comedy around his character. He turns up to the first episode late. Now he was supposed to be meeting Naruto, Sasuke and Sakura to begin their training as Team 7. They were to meet, they were to introduce each other, and he was late, very late. And he is consistently, through the whole show, now this is part 1 and part 2, does have this comedic value to him. When you see him, most of the time he's smiling. In scenes where it's not, you know, a super serious scene, he usually has a smile on his face. He's normally joking with the characters. He is the type of character that will just try and cheer everyone up without making it obvious that that's what he's doing. He does play quite a lot of games and pranks actually on Team 7. But the first time you meet him, he gives them a task that is basically just to test them, to find out where their abilities lie and if they're actually going to get by as ninja. So he does this test, and of course they pass, but they do eventually go out on their first mission. Now, up to this point, Kakashi has been introduced as a teacher. You can tell that he is good because that is something that is kind of shown off in that first few scenes with Team 7, but you've not really seen him use any of his abilities. Kakashi is also known as the copy ninja. He can copy quite a lot of the ninja skills that other ninja can do, and he is absolutely incredible at being able to do this. He also has the Sharingan, which is an additional ability that some ninja have. I'm not going to go too far into that just now. I actually could talk for hours just about Naruto, the different types of like ninja abilities and things. I'm not going to get into that. I just want to do a kind of base cover of my favourite characters. So he does have this ability. He is known as a copy ninja. He does have the Sharingan. And this man uses it. He uses it to the best of his ability. And he is banging at it. So it does help that he's a very attractive character. Now, I came into this show as an adult, so when I came across a character that was a nice, handsome, older gentleman, I was like, I'm in. Whenever anybody watches any type of show that's, you know, got handsome characters in it, it's always good to, you know, have a nice little bit of eye candy in the shows that you're watching. So I find this eye candy, and his name was Kakashi. He was very, very quickly overshadowed by another character called Asuma Sarutobi, who I will talk about another time. So Kakashi, his story really comes out a lot more in Shippuden. So what I will do is I will not talk too much more about him because I will be doing another video on Shippuden and where that led and why certain characters became my favourite in that part. So just now, Kakashi's character didn't really develop all that much in Naruto. Now, when Sasuke goes missing, you do see him, his drive and his abilities come out a lot more. You see a lot more seriousness to Kakashi that you didn't really see in the first few episodes. And then also leading into the Chunin exams, he kind of stayed the same. He was very much the jokey, kind of comedic relief, the teacher who is cool and you want to hang out with anyway, but his character didn't really develop until you started finding out more about his background, which again, that is in Shippuden. It is a very, very long-winded explanation, so let's not go into that far too much. However, in part 1, as just this little bubble of part 1, Kakashi's character I felt was absolutely necessary to the show, to the other characters' development. Having Naruto and Sakura and Kakashi with their leader, it was such a good dynamic, and he really helped the characters grow. I think because at the time Kakashi was more my age as well, I felt that I related to him a lot. Well, not related to him because obviously I'm not a ninja, but I felt more attuned to his character because he was a little bit older and because he was dealing with these kids that were just so frustrating. I did feel that maybe that was a bit more of a factor as well, is because we were about ages, so it was a little bit easier for me to enjoy his character more and understand where most of his comedy came from, to understand where his frustrations came from, and also thinking, damn, he's only that age and is kicking ass like this. Wow. It was a fantastic character anyway. I thoroughly enjoyed his character, and I loved where his character went in Shippuden. It was fantastic. So I have several characters that I have absolutely loved. Now, if you have watched any of my videos in the past, any of my drawing videos anyway, you will notice that I've drawn a certain character a few times. This character being Asuma Saratobi, who I have already mentioned in this video. Now, Asuma Saratobi wasn't really introduced all that much in part 1. Now, Asuma was the sensei in Team 10, and he is fucking cool. Again, he was about ages with me when I started watching Naruto, so again, that might have been one of the reasons why I was more drawn to his character than I was to the other characters in Team 10, but he is fabulous. Now again, you don't really get to see him all that much in this part, however, he has an arc. He has like my favourite arc in the entire of the whole Naruto like world, but I would say in part 1 you don't really get to see his character all that much, and I really wish that you could see him more because he is fantastic. Times that you do see him, you do find out that he is a little bit, he's just a badass. He's a laid back badass. Other characters I've drawn have been Shikamaru. I drew him traditionally. I drew him because of his ties to Asuma. Now, he is part of Team 10, he is absolutely fantastic, and he's just a really cool character. I didn't really get as into him until, again, Shippuden, but you do get to learn about his character. You do see him in the filler episodes, and he has a really cool like ninja ability, which is just awesome. So that's another character that I did draw. I drew Hinata as well from later in Shippuden, and the reason I'm making that very clear is there is a alternative version of Hinata on my Patreon. It's for free, by the way, if you want to go see it. Now, Hinata is a character that is relevant really from the start. Now, Kakashi, very relevant from the start. Asuma doesn't really become all that relevant until later on. Shikamaru is another one that is kind of there, and it does help along with Naruto's journey, but he's not the most prominent character. However, Hinata starts off as a bit weird. So Hinata is absolutely, completely in love with Naruto. Now, Naruto doesn't feel the same about her. Naruto is heavily in love with Sakura, and that's known from episode 1. So he is a little bit oblivious to Hinata's feelings towards him, and she does feel like a little bit of a stalker. She can barely even speak to Naruto because of how much she is just so into him. And yeah, she's one of those characters that's like, eee. However, her character does develop. You get to see her a lot more. You also meet her in the filler episodes as well, and she gets to interact a little bit more with Naruto, and you get to see her going from just this character who is completely obsessed with Naruto. Her character develops into this character who is still absolutely in love with Naruto. However, she does have her own goals and her own storyline that she follows. Again, I won't go into too much details about her background because it is spoilers for the show. I can't remember if you find out about a lot of her background in part 1. I think you do. In the tuning exams, that is somewhere where you do get to actually see her for the first time fighting, and she is fighting a family member. Now, again, I'll not talk too much about it because that is a humongous spoiler, but you very quickly get to see her upbringing and why she really is the way she is, and you see her grow a bond with Naruto. As I said before, Naruto is quite a lonely character because Naruto is very unliked in the village, and it feels like Naruto and Hinata do bond over this because Hinata is very unliked in her family, Naruto is very unliked in the community, and Hinata just accepts Naruto for who he is. But yeah, so her character does start off as this just obsessed with Naruto, and then you get a bit more of her background, and then over the course of part 1 you do see her character develop a lot more to becoming her own character, which I really thoroughly enjoyed. Moving on to Shippuden, again I will talk about more in my next anime video. However, her character develops a lot. She has a huge character development in this show, and I really enjoyed that because most of the times in the shows that I've been watching, a lot of the characters are kind of, well, in the shonen shows anyway, they start off that they're unserious, they get a little bit serious, but their actual main character, like personality, doesn't really change all that much, whereas I felt like Hinata's really did. She went from just being this girl who had a crush to an actual fantastic ninja who didn't rely on her love for the main character. So yeah, she was a very fantastic character, and later on she got real hot. So I did draw her, and again, you've been watching that in the background, so I hope you've been enjoying it. As I said, there is an alternative version of this drawing, just the still image. It's on my Patreon if you want to go see it. However, in part 1, Kakashi and Hinata were my two very favourite characters. Kakashi right from the start, and Hinata really grew on me by the time that we actually got to Shippuden, and I wanted to see more of her in the show. I mean, obviously I wanted to see more of Kakashi as well, but we were going to get that regardless. But I did want to see more of Hinata, and I found myself thinking, oh yeah, we're going, you know, we've got more scenes in the village, so we'll be able to see Hinata. But she did become one of my base girls, and Kakashi is a fantastic character. I hope you enjoyed his video that you were watching earlier on. If you want me to actually get more in depth into just the world of Naruto, talk about more of the, you know, the ninja abilities, talk more about the Sharingan, talk more about like specifics about the characters, I've not really wanted to go into all that much here because of spoilers. I really want this video to be available to anyone who hasn't watched Naruto or hasn't watched it all the way to the end, that can come in and go, we can watch this whole video, we don't have to worry about spoilers. But I honestly could talk about Naruto for a long time, so if you want to hear me go in more in depth about these things, please let me know in the comments below and I will do it, because I might just do it anyway. I'd quite like to go a bit more in depth into Kakashi's character because he's really cool. I would have to brush up on a couple of things because there's a couple of things in the timeline that I can't really remember, but I would love to talk more about Kakashi and maybe even Hinata as well. Her character, because she starts as a very young character, you see most of her story in the actual show, and although she is a fantastic character, her storyline isn't as exciting as Kakashi's. So I probably wouldn't do an entire storyline just on Hinata, but I would be more than happy to go in more depth into Kakashi or just into Naruto in general. So please just let me know if you want more of that. However, I am going to leave this video here. Please tune in for part 2 when I talk a little bit more about Shippuden. Naruto Shippuden is honestly one of my favourite shows, and I never thought I would ever say that. So please tune in the next time when I talk about that, and I will go into a little bit more depth about the character that is and has been my favourite male character for a very long time. But if you enjoyed this video, remember to hit the like button below and subscribe for more, because I post every Friday. I also stream every Wednesday and Saturday, and my Wednesday streams are my art streams and my Saturday streams are my gaming streams. Now, I have my 1 year anniversary coming up. I started posting very regularly and streaming on a regular basis last December on the 23rd of December. Now, I am very busy on the 23rd of December this year, but on the 21st of December, I am going to be having a celebration stream for my 1 year. For that, I am also launching my Discord as well, so please keep an eye out for that and please join when it goes live. Now, the Discord is going to be somewhere where I will be posting a lot of stuff about my videos, upcoming videos, where you can suggest anime that you want me to talk about, where you can suggest drawings that I might want to do. I will talk about it a little bit closer at the time as well, just to remind you if you want to come by and see it. But yes, I hope you enjoyed this video and I hope to see you in the next one, and I hope you have a good time. Bye!